Here we go. Welcome back to Afria Anime Review, episode 19. We're doing the first part of a two-part OVA, which is called The Miraculous Meeting and the Phantasmagorical Adventure, Part 1. Now, this is from a short story. This first part is from an actual short story, which I have not actually read yet. You see, there's this book that's a compilation of the short stories from all the books. Basically, it was released here, but only digitally. There's no physical release of this one. Now, they do have, this actually is from chapter 4, which this is actually, chapter 4 is this from. Now, basically, they had stories in here, the short stories, which printed back at these books, and they basically just combine them all into one. Like the Parent series does. There's a character appearance in the episode who makes her first ever anime appearance. We'll get to that. So, the episode starts out with Hajime just looking at the water, and then Mew tell him dinner's ready, Grace's on duty, Grace's being cute as possible, and she... Now, the stuff they say in this episode is actually canon, related to Mew's mother. This actually is canon. It's not made up for the OVA. This actually is true for the actual books itself, so not made up here. So, they have dinner, and dinner table is basically like, on one side you have Shidori, To, and Shie, and basically, I think on the other side, it's basically you, Hajime, Mew, and Mew's mother. Right, and of course, basically, the whole thing, of course, they call him darling, and the girls getting jealous, and look for these wonders, like, one last adventure, like, if you go to sleep, basically, leave next day. So this is just before they left. Because this actually takes place before they actually leave in the main series. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then, of course, they go out to sea, and of course, I mentioned about so happened in the main series where the guy's flying about going for an airship, and then there's this black whale in the sky. And there's this white light, and then everybody gets separated. And the first person we see when we get to this period, where there's destruction everywhere, is actually Rinma, where she's obviously looking for her cute daughter, and she's attacked by what looks like a Grim Reaper, until the thing is shot out by Hajime, who proceeds to also, after he kills Lois's Grim Reaper, he proceeds to treat her bruised feet, give her some nice shoes to wear, because, well, he does not want basically the mother of his, basically in a way adopted daughter to be, to anything bad happen to her. And of course, cause some destruction, get everybody's attention. Meanwhile, though, the cute Mew, the adorable Mew, where she is just walking around, looking for Hajime and her mother, and then, of course, she hears a voice, and it's the white whale, who is, it's actually some shadow anyway. So we see a white whale who takes on these wolves, led by a Cerberus. Yes, a Cerberus. That's what a three-headed dog. That's why when I think of three-headed dog, I think of Cerberus from Greek mythology. And then there's about this white water, this ocean water, casted by this lovely lady right here, making her anime debut in this franchise. That is Miru Masali. And from what I've read, this story takes place during the events of this very book. You're like, really? Yeah. Following the tracks of Akita. It was a city in this book. Yeah, in Afria Zero. Those of you who don't know what the heck Afria Zero is, Afria Zero is the prequel 2 of Freya. Originally, I was like into the series because it featured the characters from the main series, but that's the anyways. The thing with these books are, these are more lengthier than the main series. Like, this book in particular, book 2. And it's only the second book of the whole series. And if we don't count the afterwards, this book is 444 pages. The 6th book is the longest book of the whole series at over 600 pages. You're like, damn! That's nothing. I saw a preview that had more characters from Freya Zero in here. Oh yeah, she's a pirate. This way, she's kind of like also same species as Mew. And who voices her? Kristen McGuire. Yep, Kristen McGuire voiced him. Like, that's interesting. You know, maybe in between one of the seasons for Freya, maybe they could adapt a Freya Zero, the light novel series. It's possible. There's nothing that says they can't adapt these books. As long as keep producing the main series, we should be producing no problem. But here's the thing. There are only 6 books. So the only thing they can do, given the length of these books, you can easily do 6 seasons of the show. Just have each season take from each of the books. Either 1 or 2 books per season. If it's 2 books, you can do it in just 3. And if you keep it the 6 episode length, you might be able to adapt pretty much everything. Just don't do all 6 in one season. That'd be a bit ridiculous, to say the least. That's my suggestion there. Now, yes, I do know the next season is starting next week per se. Yeah, it's starting next week, which I'm looking forward to that. Which I think the next episode, probably adapting straight from I think book 7. Yeah, book 7. I believe so. Let me take a look here about that. Let's see. When they aired the last regular episode that was not like the special edition one, that was adapted from book 6. The final episode was adapted from what remained of book 4 and 5 of the season. So, the final regular episode adapted from book 6 of the show. Excuse me, of the novels. Yes. So, in a way, this last season only technically adapted 2 books, plus they also adapted they pretty much also adapted an epilogue for book 4. That's kind of what they adapted for this very season. Yeah. And the one thing the first season got criticized for, now, they did a good job adapting book 1. Yes. They thought it was okay, except here was the thing. They skipped the opening of the book of how the heck these characters got there. And for some people, it felt like an episode 2 instead of episode 1. And they did adapt that for an OVA special known as a prologue, which was released after the show was released. I don't know exactly why they did this for, but they did. And this was released in Japan on March 19, 2020. The first episode of the main show was released in Japan July 2019. Roughly 6 months. About 6 months prior to the start. And by episode 5, this actually was the only one that actually got a good amount of stuff. Yes. They actually got a good amount of adaptation. And then book 2 was adapted for the series. Book 2 got a bit shafted. Yes. Book 2 was adapted for 2 episodes. Yes, 2 episodes. 3 and 4, I didn't think was that bad per se. No. 3 was adapted for episodes 8 through 10. And the final book technically adapted for the season was book 4, where they adapted most of the book except for the epilogue. Yeah. So, this took up basically the last 3 episodes, plus the epilogue was adapted for episodes 3 through 5 of season 2. And like it's like we're taking sections from this thing and adapt it. It's like they took more time with the epilogue than anything else related to the series. I'm not sure exactly why the series did it for, but it did. Excuse me. It was by far one of the most baffling things that the series did. I'd say this for a lot of people, anybody who's seen season 2 and season 1, people can definitely say that season 2 was an improvement over season 1. Do you want to know why? Yeah, it was 13 episodes, like 12 technically. But here's the thing. They adapted 2 books, not 4. Yes. Oh. Excuse me. That's one thing. I've never heard any particularly praise. Now, yes, the second season did switch studios. Because I think like the first season was done by a completely different studio. Because like this most recent season was done by White Fox. That was pretty much the people who did it the previous season. White Fox, meanwhile, though, they're also overdoing another anime that airs right now, that being ReZero. Mm-hmm. Yes, they do that one as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they pretty much they pretty much did it with the first season of the show, and I think in the case second season they were in the case the first season they had to do it like with on their studio for the first season of the show, but the second season they just did it solo. Yes. Astra did the cold first season, and then the second season was done by Studio Mother. Yes, and they only did that one season, and now it's back at White Fox. Do not know the reason for this. It is kind of odd. The fact that this show switched studios, like it's like it went back to White Fox. Yeah, I don't get of the reason for this. Of why in the world they switched studios. I think so. Excuse me, because I know that the third season is set to premiere next week. I don't think they switched studios again. Oh, it's back at Astrid. Yes, the company who did the first pretty much the season mostly, but it seems like they basically did with their studio with the first and second season show. My guess is probably the reason why that either they chose not to do a second season with this one, or they just do alongside of it. And yes, they did work on also the OVM watch right now, but I'm not really sure exactly why they had to do in their studio for the first second season show. I mean, one thing a lot of people have wanted to see for the show, most in the case of the first season, not in the case of the second season for the show, people like to see a director's cut of the first season, because there was a lot of stuff they cut out of the first season. Second season was not bad. Yeah. Second season, it did have its cuts, yes, but it wasn't that bad. The only thing major they cut from the second season show, they cut a whole character out. Yeah. one of the characters who's going to be appearing in the next season of the show, who also appeared in the 6th season, they cut out her brother. Yeah, they cut out her brother. I don't talk a lot about 19 episodes, but yeah. So I'm going to right here and just go ahead and do part 2. And then, of course, I'm going to do Case Goes afterwards. Okay? But see you next video. Bye.